Ever stared at a container in your fridge, wondering if that expired yesterday date means it's time to toss it, or if it's still good? You're not alone. Every year, billions of dollars worth of perfectly safe food is thrown away, all because of a date on the label. But what if we told you that expiry dates aren't always as important as you think? In this video, we're revealing the truth behind those dates, where they came from, and whether they really matter when it comes to your food. The origins of expiry dates. In the early days of human history, food didn't come with a neatly printed expiry date. Instead, people used their senses to determine whether food was still good to eat. If the milk smelled sour, it was time to toss it. Simple as that. So, when did expiry dates come into play? The answer lies in the 20th century, when food production started to scale and products began traveling long distances, ending up on shelves in stores far from where they were made. Manufacturers were tasked with making sure their products were safe for consumers, but also ensuring they didn't face legal ramifications from potential lawsuits. The introduction of dates on packaging wasn't initially a safety measure. Instead, it was more about quality control, helping manufacturers guarantee that their products would meet specific standards of taste, texture, and freshness. In today's world, expiry dates serve more than just a quality marker. They've become a standard that society follows, often resulting in food waste and confusion. Expiry date versus best before versus use. By, what's the difference? A lot of confusion stems from the different terms found on food packaging. We see best before, use by, and sell by dates, but they all mean different things. Here's a breakdown. Best before. This date is about quality, not safety. It tells you when the food is at its peak freshness. After this date, food may begin to lose its flavor, texture, or nutritional value, but it's usually still safe to eat if it's been stored correctly. Use by. This one's a little more serious. A use by date is about food safety, especially for perishable items like meat, dairy, and fish. After this date, the risk of harmful bacteria increases, and you should consider tossing the item to avoid health risks. Sell by. These dates are mostly for retailers. They help stores manage inventory and ensure food is sold at its best quality, but they don't indicate that food becomes unsafe after that day. It's more of an internal marker for retailers to decide when to remove a product from the shelves. So, when you see food labeled as expired, keep in mind that these dates are often a mix-up of different meanings, and they don't necessarily equate to a safety hazard. How expiry dates are decided. Here's a surprising fact. Most countries leave it up to manufacturers to set these dates. They test the food under controlled conditions, factoring in temperature, packaging, and storage time, and choose a date that guarantees the food meets their quality standards. These dates are often set conservatively, with companies choosing a date that ensures quality while protecting themselves from legal action. As a result, the food usually lasts far longer than what's indicated on the label. This is especially true for canned, dry, and frozen foods. These items can often last far beyond their printed date without becoming dangerous. In fact, it's not uncommon for unopened canned goods to remain safe for years after the expiration date. When do expiry dates matter, and when don't they? Now, should you ignore expiry dates entirely? Of course not. Certain foods do need to be treated with caution. If you're dealing with fresh meat, seafood, or unpasteurized dairy, it's crucial to pay attention to the use-by date. These foods are more susceptible to harmful bacteria, so the date is a safety guideline you don't want to ignore. However, for items like rice, pasta, chocolate, canned goods, and honey, the expiry date is far less critical. These items may begin to lose their freshness after the printed date, but they're usually still safe to consume. In fact, your senses, smell, texture, and appearance, are often much better indicators of whether a food item is still good to eat than a printed date. For example, if you find an old bag of rice that's past its best before date, but smells fine and doesn't have any unusual discoloration or texture, it's probably safe to cook. Likewise, if a can of beans is a little past its expiration, but doesn't show signs of bulging or rust, it should still be good. This is why it's essential to understand the context of expiry dates. They're not set in stone. They're guidelines to ensure food quality, not an absolute judgment on whether a product is safe to consume. the role of your senses. While dates on food packaging are helpful, they shouldn't be the final word in deciding whether you eat something. Your senses are often your best ally. If the food smells or looks off, it's a clear signal that something is wrong. But if it smells fine and there are no signs of spoilage, it's likely okay to consume. For example, if you find that a loaf of bread is past its best before date but still feels soft and smells fresh, go ahead and enjoy it. Similarly, if a can of beans is a little past its expiration but doesn't show signs of bulging or rust, it should still be safe to eat. This is why it's essential to understand the context of expiry dates. They're not set in stone, they're guidelines to ensure food quality, not an absolute judgment on whether a product is safe to consume. The economic and environmental impact of expiry dates. One of the biggest problems with expiry dates is the amount of perfectly good food they lead to throwing away. Consumers, often guided by these dates, toss out food that could still be perfectly safe to eat. According to some studies, billions of dollars worth of food are wasted every year due to confusion over expiry dates. Not only does this lead to financial loss, but it also contributes to a major environmental issue. The food we throw away contributes to greenhouse gas emissions and waste, putting unnecessary strain on our planet. If we could all better understand the real meaning behind expiry dates and use our senses more effectively, we could cut down on food waste significantly, save money, and make more sustainable food choices. How to navigate expiry dates smartly. When it comes to expiry dates, it's essential to understand the difference between a best before, use by, and sell by date. Knowing what each one means can help you make smarter decisions when it comes to consuming food. While your senses should always play a crucial role in your judgment, paying attention to the food's specific expiration type can provide useful context. Fresh, perishable items like meat and seafood should still be treated with caution, while pantry items like rice, pasta, and canned goods are generally safe well beyond the expiry date. Ultimately, the next time you open your fridge and see something past its expiry date, take a moment to reconsider. Expiry dates were created as quality markers, not strict safety rules. Understanding what these dates really mean and relying on your own judgment can help you reduce food waste, save money, and make smarter decisions. So the next time you hesitate before throwing food away, remember this: expiry dates are just guidelines, not the ultimate truth. Trust your senses and make smarter, more sustainable choices. If this video opened your eyes, make sure to hit that like button, share it with someone who always throws food away just in case, and subscribe for more surprising insights on everyday topics, because sometimes the most ordinary labels hide the most misunderstood truths.